Yes, this is a very nice place you have here, Mrs. Vaughn. Very nice.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn, but please call me Margot, won't you?
And this terrace out here, say, that's something else. Mind if I take a look?
Oh, not at all. Go right ahead. I'm certainly hoping that the weather's going to be mild enough tomorrow that we'll be able to leave those doors open.
Yes, it has been a bit cool the last few nights.
I suppose even if we have to close them, there'll be plenty of room in here for everyone.
Oh my, more than enough. You know, it's most generous of you, Margot, letting us have this lovely place for the party.
No, not at all. It was my idea. Besides, WMON is picking up the bill.
Oh?
Well, it certainly is a terrific view out there. A little bit breezy.
I was just explaining to Nola that I'm considering this entire
Thank you.
party a business investment.
You know, Brian was telling me that he's going to film the whole thing.
Yes, he's putting it on videotape. He's bringing a minicam. But he is officially a guest. Oh, which reminds me, would you like to see the complete guest list?
Oh, yes, thank you.
You know, as much as I'm in favor of television coverage, I do wish we'd get a little attention from the press.
Oh, I think I have that all covered. Do you know Mike and Nancy Carr?
Afraid not.
I see their names here on the guest list.
Yes, well, Nancy Carr is a reporter for the Monticello News.
Ah, and isn't he Draper's business law partner?
Mm-hmm. I think you might find a few other names on there that you won't recognize.
Dr. and Mrs. Kavanaugh.
Yes, she's Nicole Drake, the anchor person on my news program at WMON.
Well, the list looks fine to me. There's just one name I'd like to add.
Oh, what?
I'd like to invite Deborah Saxon.
Nola, this is Margot's party. You want to let her be in charge of the guest list.
Well, Deborah's a slender young woman. I don't think she'll take up too much extra space.
Well, I've no objection whatsoever. Unless I'm mistaken, isn't she a member of the police force?
Yes, she's the only woman detective, as a matter of fact.
Oh, I wasn't aware that you knew her.
Oh, my, yes. She played an important part in helping keeping Paige alive during that dreadful Tobias gang siege.
Well, I knew that Steve Guthrie was your daughter's bodyguard.
Oh, Steve was in our employ. Deborah was put on the case by the police department to act as liaison between our household and the authorities.
Oh, I see.
Yes, so she took her job very seriously, displayed great interest in our family.
Oh, yes, I've had dealings with Miss Saxon before.
She and Owen would spend hours on end discussing the case. I'd love to see her again, find out what she's been up to.
Nola, I don't think that's a very hot idea.
Why not, Eddie?
Well, nothing good can come out of her being here.
What do you mean by that?
Well, what I'm saying is that if you want to enlarge the guest list, why don't you let me call some of the old gang back in L.A.? Oh, we could get a lot more mileage out of them coming out here than some lady cop.
Oh, come on, Eddie. You know better than that. Our old friends won't start coming out of the woodwork until after this film is released, and only if it gets good reviews.
Just trying to be helpful.
I'm sure Paige would want Deborah to come. After all, it's only proper since Owen suggested that Steve be invited.
Anything you say, Nola.
Well, I'm sure I'll be able to find Deborah's telephone number somewhere. Why don't I give her a call?
Oh, Margot, if you don't mind, I'd like the honor of extending the invitation.
Why do I get the feeling everybody on the force knew I was going to rejoin? Look at this. I think they saved all their work for me. All right, let's get out of here. You take the hijacking and I'll take the arson case.
And I'll meet you for lunch and compare notes.
Yeah, well, that'll be fine with me. Although I'm not sure that that'll be so hot with you.
That's an odd thing to say.
Well, I mean, all I can afford to do is take you to Charlie's Diner, and I don't think you're used to going to places so unclassy.
Steve.
Well, I can't afford to take you to places Owen Madison takes you.
Steve, I don't think Cliff had any business telling you about my dinner with Owen. You know, honestly, sometimes I think he followed me there to that restaurant just to spy on me.
Well, Cliff does seem to be the inquisitive type, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think the next time he does that, I'm going to arrest him for harassing an officer.
Well, all he was trying to do was make me jealous.
What did he say?
Nothing I didn't handle with a grain of salt.
Well, just to keep the record clear, Owen just took me out to dinner to show his appreciation for helping Paige. That was all. It was nothing but a friendly dinner.
You know, that's exactly what I told Cliff, that you and Owen had been working together a lot. He was making a mountain out of a molehill.
What did he say to that?
Well, you know Cliff, he's got everything analyzed. He said he thought you had a father fixation, and that's why you were going out with Owen.
I've never heard anything so ridiculous in my life. You know, I think I'm going to have a talk with him before this thing gets out of hand.
You want me to have a talk with him? In the alley. Maybe he'll like to beat up my knuckles with his nose or something.
I'll take care of Cliff. Now, if that's Calvin giving us another assignment, I'll tell him he's got the wrong number.
Yeah, I'll be in the trunk of my patrol car.
Saxon.
Deborah, is that you?
Yes, it is. Who's this?
It's Nola, darling. Nola Madison.
Oh, Mrs. Madison. Hello.
I'm so glad I caught you in. I thought you might be out rounding up some criminals.
Well, as a matter of fact, I was about to do that. What can I do for you?
Well, the reason I'm calling is that I'd like nothing better than to see you again. Very soon.
For any particular reason?
Yes, for a party.
I don't think I understand.
Well, I believe you know Margot Doran. Well, she's been kind enough to toss a party in honor of the beginning of work on Mansion of the Damned. And, you've been so close to Owen and myself in recent months. We'd just love to have you attend.
Well, that's very kind of you, Mrs. Madison. When is it?
It's, tomorrow evening, around 8.
Oh, tomorrow. I'm sorry, I don't think I could make it.
Oh, well, I know you police persons have all kinds of odd hours. Don't tell me you'll be on duty.
No, as a matter of fact, I'm not, but I did have some previous plans.
Well, whatever they are, darling, do try and reschedule. This is going to be quite a bash.
Well, I'll see what I can do, although I don't like to make any promises. I'll let you know.
You do that, darling. Goodbye.
I see you got an invite to the big showbiz party.
From Nola Madison herself.
Must have something pretty heavy to pass up the social event of the fall.
As a matter of fact, I don't have anything to do at all. I just don't think I would feel very comfortable there.
Yeah, why?
I feel out of place. I guess.
Well, you know, that's why I was sort of hesitant when Owen Madison invited me. I didn't know if I could make it. But I am a little curious about all the big parties these show business type people have.
I don't think we'd be missing very much, Steve.
Oh, I don't know. It wouldn't be so bad if I had another cop-type person to go with. See what they talk about, what they do. What do you say? You want to go?
Well, as you suggested, I made sure all the guests were aware that this was not a fundraising party, that the film was completely paid for.
Oh, completely by Owen, poor man.
Well, he won't be poor man very much longer. This is going to be a moneymaker.
Oh, well, I'm sure you realize that my husband isn't doing this for profit. He's doing it for his family.
Oh, really?
Yes, he's risking so much for this movie, Margot, I can't tell you. Not just money, but his reputation as well. It means a great deal to him. And to me, too.
Yes, I'm sure it does.
You know, I think I would sell my soul to the devil if it would guarantee that Mansion would be a hit.
Don't you put your faith in the devil, honey. You put your faith in Eddie. You do the film, I'll do the promoting.
Well, I just hope my party helps a little bit.
Yes, about the party. See, I was wondering if we could have some sort of decorations, you know, like maybe a big horseshoe of flowers for the luck of the pictures. I mean, nothing that corny, you mean.
I think Eddie liked your idea of a theme party, Margot.
Well, we could have deviled ham canapes and...
How about deviled eggs?
And devil's food cake for dessert. Hey, that's a great idea. And then we could have a disco version of Witchcraft for the background music.
Well, let's not get carried away, Eddie.
Oh, you leave this to me now. I'll have the audiences lined up for that flick before it's even out of the cutting room.
Well, look, I have a suggestion. Remember that poster you showed me yesterday? Has that been completed, the one for the movie?
No, it hasn't. No, all we've got is some of the original artwork for the early productions, both of them. Hey, that's an idea. Maybe we could put something together, you know, and maybe put it over the fireplace, if that's all right with you, Mrs. Doran.
It's a super idea, I think. Oh, April, darling.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, that's no devil. Looks like an angel to me.
Oh, she is. This angel just happens to be my daughter.
Yeah. Well, I do. You just go on with your meeting, and I'll
Darling, stay here just a minute. I'd like to introduce you. Now, this is Nola Madison, my daughter, April Scott, and this is Eddie Vaughn.
How do you do?
Pleased to meet both of you.
I've seen you reporting some of the news for WMON recently. You're quite good.
Well, thank you very much. As a matter of fact, I was working with your son.
Lucky Brian.
Oh, well, April happens to be a happily married woman. It's just she hasn't been feeling very well, so she came to stay with me for a little while for some TLC.
Oh, nothing serious, I hope.
No, thank you. Excuse me, Margot, if you're going to be busy in here, I can give Logan a call and tell him I'll meet him at his office.
That won't be necessary. We're going to be going soon.
But, darling, are you feeling better?
Oh, much better than I did this morning. So good, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go put a little food in my stomach. Excuse me.
Well, I do hope you'll be recovered by tomorrow. We'll be expecting to see you at our party.
Oh, yeah, Margot told me about it. Well, I'm just going to have to wait and see how I feel.
Do you work at WMON full-time, April?
Well, I was.
She just took a little time off recently, but she's going to be back in the saddle very soon. In fact, I think it'd do you good to go right back to work, darling.
Hey, swell. How about doing an interview with the star of Mansion of the Damned?
Oh, please, Eddie. I don't think April even knows what the movie's all about.
Well, as a matter of fact, I know very little except that it's about witches and spells. And...
That's right. But you know, there's a great angle for an interview. This picture has a curse on it.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, Eddie.
No, it's true. Both leading ladies in the original 2 versions of this film died during the filming. Then, the guy who wrote the screenplay was killed, and there have been some other very strange things.
Well, if that's true, I don't see why you want to do the film.
Because we're not superstitious, darling, that's why.
Oh, no, I don't know about that. The other night when we were discussing the film, a bolt of lightning came smashing right through the window.
Oh, no. It sounds as though someone up there doesn't like you very
It wasn't a bolt of lightning. It was a limb from a tree that had been struck.
Well, it's all the same thing, right? And then when we went out to Glenboro to look at the soundstage, well, Nola was reading one of the spells. Suddenly, wham! One of the spotlights just blew right out.
I think Eddie loves the idea that the devil is trying to stop us, or the ghost of Hester Atherton.
Well, frankly, that kind of stuff gives me the creeps, you know, makes me nervous.
Oh, you don't look like the superstitious type, April.
Well, it's just that some strange things have happened to me this past year.
Oh? What sort of strange things?
Well,
April had a very serious fall, an accident. She almost died.
well, actually, I did die, but only for a couple of minutes. It's quite a long story, but anyway, after it was all over, I had premonitions and visions.
You mean visions of the future?
Yeah. They were all awful. They were about death and accidents.
Well, did any of them come true?
Too many.
Say, that's very, very interesting. Maybe you have some mysterious power, April. Maybe you're a witch yourself.
Not funny, Eddie.
That is all in the past. April has had no recurrence of those awful dreams.
Well, still, she could be what they call a sensitive. You know, someone who attracts spirits. I'm sorry, I'm only kidding.
Yeah, well, I'd rather forget about the whole thing.
Well, look, there's something we're forgetting about, which is the time. We promised to meet Owen at 11:30, remember?
We better get
Heavens,
going.
I've got to get to the studio.
Well, it's been a great pleasure, Mrs. Doran.
Thank you.
And a very special pleasure meeting you, April. Angel.
But I'll see you today.
But when she got home and discovered that I had given the baby back to Logan, she slapped me and left.
This whole situation with Jamie is causing everybody a lot of heartbreak.
Not everybody. Raven certainly got what she wanted. She got rid of her responsibility to Jamie and is having a merry old time in London.
Well, now look, when you did speak to April, what did she have to say?
The hard part was getting through to her. I mean, Margot certainly wasn't any help. The first time I called there, Margot wouldn't even put her on the line. Eventually, I did get to see her just by showing up unannounced.
Oh, Margot, she has absolutely no business being involved in this.
April shouldn't have left me. April was just convinced that that piece of paper that Raven gave us gives us the right to Jamie, not Logan.
Well, what does the law say about this?
That paper has absolutely no legal value.
Logan wants custody of Jamie.
And he should have him. Look, I will not fight the man for his own son in court.
April is unwilling to consider that it might be a little bit better for Jamie. Logan is his real father.
It's an emotional issue right now. All April knows is that she loves the baby very much. She feels that no one can take better care of him or love him more than she can.
Well, at least you got her to talk to Logan about it. I mean, maybe hearing his side of the story will help things.
Oh, God, I don't know what else I can do. which is why I'm here. Nicole, you're April's best friend, and Miles, she trusts you. She looks up to you.
What is this? You want us to get involved? Is
I
that it?
want somebody to convince April that her attitudes about Jamie aren't in the best interest of anyone.
It may make April feel that we're ganging up on her, and that's going to cause more friction.
Yeah. Right now, I just want April to get home.
She will, Draper. She just give her a little bit of time to think things out.
I know what she's thinking about. The baby she lost in Mayfield.
Yeah. And the fact that she can't have any others, that's got to be the heart of the matter.
When Raven gave Jamie to April, it must have seemed like a dream come true.
Oh, she really set us up for that one. You know, Raven left that baby with us so many times that it already seemed permanent.
And now the baby's gone. Just as suddenly as April lost her own baby in that fall down those stairs.
Yes. And you know, Miles, it must strike her the same way. Except this time, I'm the bad guy.
No, you're not the bad guy. You did the right thing.
Yeah, I know I did.
It's very hard being torn between people you care for.
You know, when Logan came to me, I saw his face. He told me he wanted his son back. I couldn't say no.
Just wanted you to know that Jamie's being well looked after, that's all. Geraldine's taking real good care of him.
Yeah, Draper told me how fond she is of Jamie.
I'm very glad to be having this meeting with you. I think it's very important that you and I come to some sort of reasonable understanding about all this.
Logan, I hope you don't think of me as your enemy, because I'm not.
I know that. You and I, well, we want the same thing for Jamie. We want him well looked after, and we want him loved, right?
Oh, boy, you probably think I overreacted when I found out that Draper had given Jamie back to you without my consent.
Well, I feel pretty bad about the fact that my marriage has gone down the drain, and knowing that I am the cause of a split between you and Draper sure doesn't make me feel good.
No, it's just that I feel that Draper was out of line.
Well, I want to clear that up. I want to clear it up right now. It was not his fault. I came barging in there asking for my child. He didn't have any other choice.
Didn't he?
No, he didn't. Look, I'm the baby's father. I have the responsibility to care for it.
Logan, I'm not trying to deprive you of your child. I'm just trying to carry out the responsibility that Raven gave me.
Well, she didn't have the right to give it. I mean, you understand that, don't you?
No, I don't. Why didn't she?
Well, you know Raven. I mean, she certainly wasn't thinking about Jamie when she did this.
As far as the law is concerned, Raven is Jamie's only legal parent. That does give her the right to decide how her child is going to be taken care
And
of.
Raven is using that law for her own selfish purposes.
No, I think she had Jamie's best interests at heart and knew that Draper and I would make good parents.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've told Draper myself many times that he was better off with you than he was with his own mother, but she wasn't thinking of that when she made her decision. She was just trying to hurt me.
No, I don't believe that. I don't think even Raven could be that callous.
Oh, you can believe it. She knows how much I love that boy, and taking him away from me was just her idea of revenge.
Oh, Logan, I'm sorry all this has happened. Believe me, I am. And I don't want to add to your problems.
I'm sorry, I don't want to add problems to yours, but... Well, it's a damn shame, that's all, that you and Draper got caught in the middle of this.
Look, why don't you just let Jamie stay with us until the court decides what's best for him?
April, the reason I'm here today is because I don't want to fight you in court over Jamie.
Logan, it'll be easier for you, too.
It's going to be a lot harder for you to separate when the time comes. You see, I want my son to grow up knowing who his father is.
Logan, you've got to admit that right now, I am best qualified to take care of Jamie.
How can you say that?
Well, look, I know how much time you're putting into this campaign, let alone taking care of the district attorney's office. Tell me right now, how much time can you afford right now to attend to Jamie?
Jamie is my first priority.
Logan, look, it'll probably be November before you have time to fill out the papers, and, well, you know how the court systems are. It'll be months before you get to see a judge.
No, it won't. I'm expecting a court ruling in a couple of days.
seen a judge yet?
No, but I expect to before the week is out.
Certainly aren't wasting any time, are you? Well, I'm not so sure you're not pulling a fast one on me, getting in there first before I have a chance to show the court the papers Raven gave me.
April, believe me, this has nothing to do with you. I want this done quickly so that Raven can't come waltzing back in here on a whim and try and take Jamie back.
When is this court hearing?
Well, I don't know. I mean, Draper got Judge Fennington to accept the papers on short notice. I expect to hear from him any time now.
Draper did?
Yeah. I'm only asking for legal guardianship to start with, but, once I get that, then I will file for adoption.
Wait a second. Is this judge a friend of Draper's?
Not that I know of.
Well, why did Draper bring the papers to the court to set the hearing?
Well, Draper filed the original papers. The attorney that prepares the case presents it to the judge.
Are you saying that Draper is your attorney?
Well, I didn't want to approach the court on my own behalf.
Oh, I don't believe it. Do you mean Draper is actually trying to help you take Jamie away from me?
Now, just a second.
No, a husband and wife are supposed to support one another. You can tell your attorney something for me. That if Draper files that petition for you, he can file a petition for me, too. He can file a petition for divorce. Logan, I think you can find your own way out. Excuse me.
Seems as though a harmony is hard to find, always on our mind. In frustrated days pass without sight, the edge of night, half dark, half...
Sorry, Margot, I just don't feel like going to a party tonight. What am I going to say to all those people? Probably end up depressing everyone.
No, what you're going to end up doing is being cheered up. Now, come on, you're the reason I'm giving this party for Owen Madison.
Margot, you shouldn't have done that. Look, I can't go without Draper. What am I going to tell all those people when they ask me where he is?
Tell him the truth.
I can't.
The truth is he's probably working late. That's what you told me. He's always at the office working late. He's an absolute workaholic, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's probably where he is. He didn't even call me tonight.
Oh, darling, forget all that. Please put it all behind you. Now, Miles and Nicole are coming. You don't want them to see you with a long face.
I don't even think I can face them with any kind of a face. I am sure that they both think that Draper's right and I'm wrong about this baby.
They're dying to see you. And I'm dying for everybody to see what a beautiful daughter I have. Yes.
People are arriving, darling.
Oh, we'll be right out there.
My, how nice you look, April.
Well, what do you think of it, Trent? That's you up there. The devil himself.
I think it's charming, if that's the word.
How about spellbinding?
Oh, it gives me the creeps. I just wish I hadn't read my horoscope today.
Why? What did it say?
Well, it seriously suggested that something rather evil was going to happen tonight.
I'd like you all to meet my husband, Elliot. This is Eddie Vaughn.
How do you do, Mr. Doran? Nice to
Paige
meet you.
Madison.
Hi, how are you?
Brother Brian. And, of course, Nola.
Madison?
Actually, I've met your husband before, Margot. I dropped into the Unicorn one evening. He was very gracious.
Oh, it's so easy to be gracious to a beautiful woman, Mrs. Madison.
I've told my husband to be sure to cast you in our next movie. Isn't he the perfect matinee idol, Eddie?
If you ever need an agent, I'm in the book.
Oh, Margot, the place is absolutely divine.
Thank you.
I think it is so nice of you to have done this for us.
Oh, don't worry, WMON-TV is going to profit from it, too. Which reminds me, Brian, did you bring all the equipment?
I've got it right here, Mrs. Doran. I'll start taping as soon as you give the signal.
Well, I guess we'd better wait till everybody's here. Where is Owen, by the way?
Oh, he should be here pretty soon. He's gone to pick up Jason Reinhardt.
Oh, the Jason Reinhardt?
Yes.
The movie director?
Yes, do you know him?
That's very strange. He's very famous, isn't he? He gave a series of lectures at the university where I taught. I attended the class myself.
darling, you never told me that.
I'd be very glad to see him again.
What a lovely view, Mrs. Doran.
Thank you.
I didn't realize that Monticello could be so cosmopolitan.
We're becoming quite a metropolis, Mr. Archer.
Yes, who knows? Maybe the next movie capital of the world.
I doubt that very much. Have you seen the view, Paige?
No, I haven't.
Well, let me show it to you.
Margot, I'd like you to meet Jason Reinhardt, Margot Huntington, our hostess.
My gracious, I am honored, Mr. Reinhardt.
Yes, I know. I'm a household word, like toothpaste.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, I am quite a fan of yours, and if I weren't so busy tonight, I'd get you in a corner, and I'd get your autograph.
Oh, and I've just decided to double my fee.
Uh-oh.
I'm more famous than I realized.
Well, I'd like to pay it twice as much. Unfortunately, I can only afford half of what I'm paying.
Well, I hope you two will make yourselves at
Oh,
home.
sure,
Excuse
absolutely.
me.
Thank you. Well, let's go and meet the gang.
I already know some of them. Nola,
Hi there, Jason.
darling, how are you?
Hello.
You're more beautiful than ever. Divorce this clod and marry me.
You don't need a fifth wife, Jason.
Darling, you look absolutely lovely.
I feel ugly, and I feel like my eyes are as red as two stoplights.
Nothing of the kind. Oh, two of Monticello's finest just arrived. Well, Miss Saxon, Mr. Guthrie. Well,
Hello, April. Mrs. Doran, thank you for the invitation. I can't tell you how surprised we were.
Oh, Steve didn't think you two were on the best of terms. I know you exchanged some harsh words when your apartment was burglarized.
Oh, nonsense. That is a long time ago, a thing of the past. I've forgotten all about it. I know that Mr. Guthrie was trying to do his job, but of course, none of the jewelry ever was recovered.
Deborah, you look terrific. By the way, I like your haircut.
Thank you. You look good, too.
Thank you.
Is Draper here?
No, I'm afraid he had to work late, unfortunately.
Well, Mansion of the Damned. Looks like Owen finally got started on his movie.
Yes, which is the reason for this party, isn't it? And that reminds me, darling, you've never met Owen. Excuse us, I'd like to introduce April.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, sure. Well, don't you think maybe we should go over and talk to the Madisons? After all, they are the reason we got invited here.
No, I don't think so.
Oh,
Don't care to talk to Mrs. Madison right away?
I can understand that.
Hi. How about a couple of drinks? Sure. What would you like?
Dry martini.
Scotch.
I wonder what it is that makes a night view like this so romantic. Maybe it's, I don't know. I think it might be something that's atavistic. What do you think?
You mean, I don't know. You mean some kind of primitive instinct?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think cavemen had skyscrapers.
Oh, but they had the sky. And they could see the stars, wonder at them.
Oh, I still do.
Or maybe it was something else. The thrill of standing high on a promontory, looking down at the campfires. The lights glowing in the darkness, filled with all sorts of promises of encounters and adventures and romances. Oh, it is very stirring, isn't it?
I wonder what Brian's doing.
Oh, yes, well, your brother, he has a job tonight, doesn't he?
Oh, I suppose he does.
Well, then you'll need another escort, won't you?
Hey there, you two. Too cold out here for terrace talk. Besides, we don't want two of our stars to catch pneumonia.
We certainly don't, Uncle Eddie.
Miles? Oh, you look absolutely delicious.
Thank you, sir. You.
You better watch out. Lots of movie people here tonight. They might try to sign up your gorgeous wife.
How about my gorgeous husband?
Margot, is April here?
Oh, yes, he's around somewhere. But come on, let me introduce you to the guests of honor.
Yeah, I do know about Logan and Raven. I don't know exactly what happened, but I do know that it was serious.
Poor Logan. His wife taking off on him 6 weeks before the election.
What about Jamie? I understand that Raven just went off and left him. Is anybody taking care of him?
Yeah, Jamie is with his father. Logan, yeah.
Well, as long as he's with someone who cares about him, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Would you excuse me a second, please?
April? April?
Who is it?
It's your brother.
Miles, I can't talk to you right now.
Come on, April, open the door. Now, what's going on?
Nothing. I just felt tired all of a sudden and thought I'd come up here to rest a bit.
April, we've been talking to Draper. We've heard about what's going on between you
Well,
two.
you don't know everything that's going on. You only know his side of the story.
Well, we would love to hear your side of the story, but every time we try to get in touch with you, we are told that you're either out or you're asleep.
Or unwilling, and I think that's the real word for it.
Well, look, can't you see that I really don't want to think about it right now?
Listen, you have got to think about it. I'll tell you, there's one thing I agree with Draper about, 100%.
You think he was right to give Jamie away without telling me anything about it?
I'm talking about what you're doing now. Living here, staying away from your home, from your own husband, letting Mama take care of you while you sulk in your room like a 6-year-old child
That
who's
is
been
not
denied.
true.
It is true.
It isn't, and I won't go home. I can't. Not as long as Draper is going to take Logan's side against me.
Oh, April, Draper isn't against you. He loves you. So much so that your absence is driving him absolutely crazy.
It's true. It's walking into the walls. You
Oh,
know?
come on.
Listen, whatever the problem is, not talking about it, avoiding the subject, is not going to help the situation one bit.
I know that, and we have talked about it. We talked about it right here in this apartment, and Draper has one position, that I have absolutely no rights to Jamie despite the fact that his mother wanted me to have him, and that Logan has every right to Jamie despite the fact that he is not Jamie's legal father and that he doesn't have any time to take care of the baby.
April, I spoke to Draper before we came over here, and I did promise him that we would do everything we could to get you to leave here with us tonight.
Well, I'm sorry, but I can't do that.
Oh, yes, you can. It's easy. When we say goodnight, you say goodnight, and then we leave, we get into the car, we drive over to your house, and we talk.
I can't go home to that house right now. Not that empty house, not that empty crib.
The crib is gone.
What?
Logan came by yesterday. He took the crib and the stuff. They belong to him, too.
Well, Jamie does not belong to him.
Draper tells me there is not a court in the country that would deny him the child, not after they hear the full story.
Oh, and you know who's going to tell them the full story? None other than Clarence Darrow Scott. And that makes me sick to know that Draper's trying to take Logan, helping Logan to take that baby away from me.
Oh, he isn't. He's helping Logan take the baby away from Raven.
Besides, he told us tonight that he is not going to represent Logan in his petition for guardianship.
What? It's true.
He realizes how strongly you feel about this, and he is withdrawn from the case. Now, doesn't that make a difference?
No. No, it's not enough. Because he still wants Logan to win.
Well, Logan is going to win, whether Draper helps him or not. I mean, the merits of the case are just too obvious.
And who is going to present my side? Who is going to let that judge know how much I want that baby?
Oh, April, don't.
Nicole, what would you do if it were Adam? Well, obvious, you two just don't think it's the same thing, so why don't you just go on back to your party and have a good time?
April, come on.
No, please go.
And naturally, at this point, the director cries, "Cut!" And the idiot farm boy they'd hired thinks he means the well rope.
Oh, no.
And the next thing we knew, he cut the rope with a huge pair of shears, and down into the well went poor William.
I don't believe it.
Well, what did he think about
Mr. Reinhardt,
Well, one
can
time
I
at
get
the
you something
well.
else?
You can put some more scotch in there.
Have you worked with Mrs. Madison before?
I directed Nola Patterson in her second movie. She was gorgeous.
Yeah, she's still a lovely woman.
She looks a lot better than I'd expected.
Was it a long time since she did her last movie?
15 years. Fortunately, Nola Patterson is not a typical Hollywood imbecile that spends every nickel she earned. She must have made 10, 15 million in her day. And from what I hear, she still got most of it.
Oh, how interesting.
Nancy.
Nice to be here.
yes, indeed. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Pleasure.
Is April going to be here?
Well, I think she's here already, but I'm not sure where. Probably in the powder room.
Well, I know where her husband is, at any rate. When I left the office, he was still burning the midnight oil, and it looked as if he was going to be there for the rest of the night.
Oh.
Margot, we're both pretty upset about what's happened with them. I mean, they're so sweet. They're too perfect a couple for anything to come between them.
Well, I'm not all sure that they're such a perfect couple. I mean, sometimes chemistry isn't always as good as it seems.
Well, of course, we're not going to take sides on the question of the baby, but strictly from a legal standpoint, I'm afraid that April is asking for too much.
I don't think it's so much a legal problem as a personal problem.
In what way?
Well, in the high-handed way that Draper, just without any consideration for April's feelings, just handed the baby back to Logan.
Oh, yes. Well, I suppose that could have been handled in another way.
I certainly think so, and it's not the first time he's done it. I mean, he's often disregarded her feelings. For instance, that time he almost took that job in New York. That's another story. Let me get you folks a drink.
But Draper didn't get that job, did he?
No, he didn't. To be honest, I'm not all that sorry.
Margot, do you know any of those people? I mean, any of the partners in that law firm?
Nancy, why don't we say hello to Miles and
I
Nicole?
seem to remember someone mentioning that you knew a David Henson.
Yes, David Henson was my attorney in the dark ages, but I haven't seen him in years.
Uh-huh. Haven't even spoken to him.
Would you excuse me just a moment? I have to make an announcement. Make yourselves at home.
You didn't waste any time, did you?
Isn't that interesting? I never expected to say all those things.
Something tells me this is going to be a memorable evening.
Attention, attention, everybody. I'm sorry to interrupt your conversations, but I have a little announcement to make. First of all, our guest of honor is a very special person tonight. Now, I'm not exactly sure what his name is, but some call him Mephistopheles, and some call him the devil, some call him Satan, Old Nick, for instance.
Araman, don't forget that.
Oh, that's a new one. Well, no matter what you call him, he's one devil of a fellow. Did I say that? And he also happens to be one of the leading characters in Owen Madison's new production of Mansion of the Damned. Which, as you know, is the reason for this party tonight, to celebrate the beginning of production on this movie, which, by the way, is the first feature film ever shot right here in Monticello. And I think we should wish all those people responsible lots of good luck, beginning with Mr. Madison, the producer. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Jason Reinhardt, the director. Oh, and behind the camera here, Brian Madison, a minicam tonight.
Hey, Brian.
Oh, and the stars of the movie are Miss Nola Patterson and Mr. Archer, Trent Archer. Oh, and introducing, by the way, Miss Paige Madison. Now, I wanted to make another little announcement, if you don't mind. The Madisons and Mr. Archer have very kindly agreed to appear on WMON TV tomorrow evening on a special interview program. I want you all to watch, mainly because my lovely daughter is going to be doing the interviewing. Oh. April Scott. Oh, I'm sorry, Eddie. I forgot about that. He is the man that's going to make Mansion of the Damned a household word. Mr. Eddie Vaughn.
First off, I want to thank our gracious hostess, and I want to thank you all for coming to her lovely party. And now, to make sure that you all have a hell of a good time, I thought it might be kind of interesting if Miss Nola Patterson and Mr. Trent Archer did a little scene from our movie. How about that, you two?
Well, this is very unexpected, but as it happens, we did bring our scripts.
Need a few minutes to prepare.
Yeah, and if we could just make a kind of a stage in this area, and perhaps everybody could sit around and the sofa, and chair, whatever. How's that?
Mr. Doran, there's a telephone call for you.
Oh.
Okay, I'll take it out in the balcony. Hello.
Your bad pet.
Sarah, did you have to call tonight? There's a party going on.
And I wasn't invited?
Please, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Well, you better talk soon, Ducky. You were the one who wanted to buy back your wife's jewels, remember?
If it had been up to me, it would have been settled a few days ago. But you're the one who insisted on coming to this apartment.
Oh, it's very small favor if you ask me. But if you don't want to meet the conditions, I'll just take my chances on selling the stuff somewhere else.
No, wait, Sarah. I'll tell you what. Why don't you come here tomorrow night? I think my wife has a very important business dinner, and her daughter will be doing an interview, so they won't be here.
That sounds just lovely, darling. Now, you just make sure you have the cash, and I'll bring the jewels, and we'll both have a lovely time.
Well, Elliot, there you are. Darling, we're about to start. Come on in.
I'll be right in, Margaret.
I admit that the devil was born in the imagination of man, Miss Atherton. But if you remember what Voltaire said, that if God didn't exist, it would be necessary to invent him. The same thing applies to the devil.
But if the devil is only imaginary, Mr. Harriman, then we have nothing to fear from him.
My sentiments, Miss Atherton. Therefore, you have nothing to fear if you don't believe.
Well, I don't. Not in the devil, not in witchcraft, and most especially not in the powers of my ancestor, the first Hester Atherton.
She looked very much like you, you know.
Did she? And how would you know that?
By her portrait, of course.
There is no portrait, Mr. Harriman.
Then I am mistaken. Excuse me. Do you mind if I stand by the fire?
But the flames are dying.
Yes. Now, let us get back to business with Atherton. As I said before, I am interested in purchasing this mill of yours for the proper price. Or if the terms do not work, why, therefore, we can discuss another purchase.
Such as what? I have nothing more to sell.
I could have sworn there was somebody out here. Someone... just horrible.
Well, there's no one here now.
Oscar, this is Elliot Doran. Yes. Look, I'm expecting a young lady, Miss Albright. Yes, the same one. She's coming to collect some back pay. Send her right up, will you? Okay, thank you.
are home, I'm glad.
Oh, hello, Margot. How are you? I was surprised you weren't here when I came home. I was thinking maybe we could have a drink before you left for your appointment.
Oh, that would have been lovely, but I had to go early. I had another appointment before the dinner date. Did you manage to get to the bank on time?
Oh, yes, I have the check cashed. Thank you. Well, I'm sorry about the urgency of it all, but it was just one of those suppliers who insist on getting paid immediately, you know.
I know. Well, now that I've done you a favor, maybe you can do me a favor? This appointment's going to keep me from seeing April's interview show. Would you be kind enough to put it down on tape for me? I set everything up. All you have to do is push the button. You think you can handle it?
Sure. Okay, I'll be glad to do it.
Oh, good darling. I didn't get much of a chance to see April today at all. I hope she managed all right.
Well, are you going to be coming home late from your dinner? Because I'll leave the Unicorn not later than about midnight.
Well, I'll try to get home early, darling.
Okay. I just want us to be together a bit more often.
I'd like that, too. I do love you, you know, you beast.
I love you, too.
You know, this is the first time you've driven me to the studio since Winter Austin.
Is it?
Of course, you had a reason to then. I was getting all those threatening letters. Ones that Winter was sending me. I wanted to make sure I got there safely.
Yeah, so unfortunately, the threat turned out to be inside the studio, not outside, so it didn't do you much good at all, did I?
Oh, you improved my morale. Is that what you're trying to do now?
I didn't know your morale needed improvement.
Miles, honestly, you think I'm still upset about what happened at that party last night?
You certainly have talked a lot about it.
Well, I'm still flabbergasted by it, that's why. You know, I really did see something on Margot's terrace while they were doing that scene from the movie. And I am not saying that it was the devil or the ghost of Hester Atherton or anything else supernatural, but I definitely did see something very strange.
Well, I told you what I thought it was. I thought it was just a reflection. You know, nothing more than that, a trick of the lights.
I'm sure you're right.
Well, you weren't so sure last night. You were showing very definite signs of a bad scare. Lowered blood pressure, nervous tremors, tachycardia. Dr. Kavanaugh speaking here.
Well, things seem very different at night, don't they? Besides, it's the whole mood of the evening. I mean, all that talk about demons and witches and spells
Sure, and they deliberately lowered the lights to help with your illusion.
Oh. You know, I'm kind of glad that April didn't come down to that party. She's had enough illusions to last her a lifetime.
I'm afraid she's having another one now. She thinks she's Jamie Swift's mother.
No, there is nothing illusory about what April is feeling right now. I mean, that is not an imaginary baby. That's a flesh and blood infant. And she has held it, and she's fed it, and she's put it
So
to
do
bed.
baby nurses. So does Mrs. Goodman. That doesn't make the baby theirs.
Yes, but April thinks that Raven Swift gave her the right to be Jamie's mother. I mean, you can appreciate what April feels when Raven came in and gave her a document and
Well,
said,
you know what
here he
Draper
is,
thinks
he's
of that
yours.
document.
Yes, I do. And I think Draper is being a little bit hard-nosed about it right
No, he's
now.
not. He's just being honest. He knows the baby rightfully belongs to his own parents.
Yeah, but only one parent wants him right now. Oh, that's enough.
Yes, it is.
So, April's hope is an illusion.
Nope. No, I'm sorry. I'm afraid she's not here this evening. No, she's gone out to a dinner. I don't have all the details. It's a testimonial from a TV executive of some sort. Can I take a message? Okay, just a second. Okay, that was Winthrop, right? All right. All right, I'll tell her. All right, bye-bye. Well, how about that? That's the third one so far this evening. You're gonna have to get used to that if you're gonna live here. Famous person like Geraldine Saxon, phone is always ringing right off the hook. The door is knocking off the hinges. Can you wait for me till I get back? Okay, I'd better take that with me. Right. Coming. Yes?
Mr. Swift, I hope you remember me.
Mrs. Doran, how could I forget a guest at my own wedding? Please come in.
Are you living here permanently now?
No, I'm staying in my apartment. I'm just visiting Jamie right now.
Oh.
He's staying with Geraldine. I still have the apartment, still have a room at the law club, for that matter. No shortage of residences. I just don't have a home.
Yes, I know. I was sorry to hear about the situation.
Forget about it. I didn't mean that to sound quite as self-pitying as it did. Do you mind if I finish feeding my son?
No, not at all. I didn't mean to disturb his dinner.
Dear. Well, you must have had some reason for coming over.
Well, as a matter of fact, I wanted to say hello to my little friend here.
There we go.
Be sure he's all right. April's very concerned about him.
Well, you tell April that he's fine. He's hungry. He's had a few interruptions during this meal.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry about that I'm one of those interruptions, and I promise it won't be a very long one. As a matter of fact, I have a dinner date myself. It's really an obligation to speak at some sort of stuffy dinner for a television bigwig.
Sounds like the same thing that Geraldine Saxon's going to.
Huh?
Yes. A TV news executive of some sort?
Yeah, probably the same one. Maybe I'll see her there.
That sounds nice. You two can have a friendly chat.
As a matter of fact, I would like to have a friendly chat with you about Jamie. You see, Mr. Swift, I think I have the solution to your little problem.
To be honest with you, Mrs. Dorn, I wasn't aware that there was a problem with Jamie.
Now, Mr. Swift, I'm better informed than that. I make it a point to be very well informed on anything that is very important to me.
Or to your daughter.
Or to my daughter.
Well, what happened between Raven and April was very unfortunate, but what happened between Raven and me was even more so.
Yes, I was very distressed to hear about your separation. I understand it might be permanent.
The Rock of Gibraltar has nothing on the permanence of our separation.
Oh, well, what a pity. And how very, very sad for this little baby.
If you're worried about him missing his mom, I wouldn't shed any tears. Raven was a little short in the maternal instinct department. Oh.
Still, a baby does need a mother. Don't you agree with that?
Well, this one won't be the first to be raised without one. I'm sure you will agree with that. Fortunately, he has a father who does want him and is able to care for him, and he has Mrs. Saxon, who loves him very much. I hope I'm setting your mind at ease.
On the contrary. I'm not only concerned with Jamie's welfare, but I'm also concerned with April's.
Yeah, April did take it pretty hard, didn't she?
April thought that the baby was hers. Your wife told her that. Your wife gave her a legal document giving her custody to this child. Your wife also convinced her that your claim to the baby was nil.
Mrs. Doran, I wouldn't worry too much about the legalities of this thing. I think I can take care of them. I have a very good lawyer.
Yes, Draper.
I was referring to myself.
I know that Draper is assisting you in this. I know that he is siding with you against his own wife.
That's not true. Draper wouldn't do anything to hurt April. He loves her too much.
Oh, he has an odd way of showing his love, handing this little baby over to you when she was not in her house. With no regard for her feelings, I think that was a very callous thing to do.
Well, what about Raven's handing him over to April in the first place? That was pretty callous, too.
Oh, it is not the same thing.
All right, let's not get overheated. Mrs. Dorn, you're an intelligent woman. Now, you must realize that Raven did what she did to hurt me. But one thing that is not going to be hurt by all this is April's marriage.
Oh, come on. Do you really think that it is that secure?
What do you want from me, huh?
What I want from you is a sensible discussion about common sense. I think that's something you have plenty of.
Oh, yeah, I got a ton of that. And I'm a great judge of character, too. That's why I'm in this mess to begin with.
Oh, look, I know you love the baby. Who could help but love the baby? But I also know that your relationship to Jamie is very tenuous.
Why? Because Kevin Jameson is the legal father?
Exactly. And no matter how much you love the baby, I think what you are doing out of spite. I think you're trying to get back at Raven, and that's why you're demanding custody of this child.
Wrong.
Right. Oh, come on, Mr. Swift. Raising an infant as a single parent is going to be a terrible burden to you. You are an important government official. You're running for re-election. You need to be making speeches, not changing diapers. And win or lose, you're going to have to concentrate on your career.
Well, nobody said it was going to be easy.
And it isn't. Come on, a young man on his way up, he needs help. He doesn't need encumbrances. He needs all kinds of help. Political help, emotional help, financial help.
What?
Consider this, Mr. Swift. I mean, just consider it. Think what it would mean to you to have a trust fund that would pay you, say, $30,000 a year for the next 5 years.
$30,000?
Think of the freedom it would give you. Freedom to make choices, political choices, choices for the future, choices you would not be able to make under economic pressure. I know that you have no private source of income.
And you would take care of that?
Just trying to take care of a problem.
Oh, I see. Because what I thought you were trying to do was buy my son.
You have a hard way with words, Mr. Swift. No, now you just think about it. It makes a good deal of sense. Good night.
This is your last drink of the evening, Precious. Unless you want to come to the Unicorn, which is where I'll be no more than half an hour from now.
What's the big hurry? I thought you were the boss. You can go in any time you please.
Didn't you know that the boss has more responsibilities than anyone else? Now, what do you say we stop this cat and mouse game and get down to the business in hand?
That's exactly what I had in mind.
Now, Sarah, I haven't got time for this now.
Oh, yes, you do. You have a nice new bartender. He'll take care of the place until you arrive.
Listen, Sarah, the condition was that you would bring me Margot's jewelry and that I would give you enough money to send you home. I have here enough money for your plane ticket and for the limousine to and from the airport. $2,000 to be exact.
But that wasn't the only condition, darling, was it?
No, you wanted to meet in the penthouse, and I have met that condition too.
Our old happy hunting ground, where you used to hunt me.
You did bring the jewelry, didn't you?
Oh, yes, I brought it. I brought all the necklaces and bracelets, everything you gave me. Although I'm sure you know it's worth more than $2,000.
Not to you it isn't, because if you try to sell or pawn it, you'll be in jail instead of London.
And wouldn't you be there too, Elliot, since we both staged that little burglary?
Sarah, please, I thought we had an understanding.
That's what I want, Elliot. I want understanding. Oh, come on. You told me your wife was out for the evening. Why shouldn't we remember old times?
That's why you wanted to meet in the penthouse, isn't it? To remind me of old times.
I thought it might inspire you, ducky.
Listen, Sarah, it's 6 o'clock. It's time for the news. I promised Margot I'd watch an interview for her.
An interview? What's so bloody important about that?
It's her daughter on the interview, that's why. And Margot will expect a full report. I can't very well tell her I was entertaining you, can I now?
Well, why can't you tape the damn thing? You've got one of those machines, haven't you?
I can't find that button.
Perhaps the most interesting thing about Mansion of the Damned is that the screenplay is based on an actual, unpublished autobiography of a woman from Salem, a witch. She is called Hester Atherton, and she claims to have recovered the satanic powers of an ancestor of hers who was hanged as a witch in the year 1692. WMON reporter April Scott talked to 3 of the principals involved with Mansion of the Damned, producer Owen Madison and his wife Nola Patterson, and the male lead of the production, Trent Archer.
Is it true that there's supposed to be some sort of a curse on this movie?
Oh, I think those reports are a little exaggerated.
But it is true that Mansion of the Damned was started twice before, wasn't it?
It certainly is true. And it's a known fact that both leading ladies died during the shooting itself.
Well, Miss Patterson, if that's true, that can't make you feel too comfortable now, can it?
Oh, Miss Scott, half the country thinks Nola Patterson died years ago. No. It doesn't bother me that much.
And it shouldn't either. I mean, both leading ladies died of perfectly natural causes.
I assume the leading men were all right.
Yes, they were fine.
However, it should be mentioned that the author of the screenplay, Donald Hooks, was killed while the film was in progress.
Oh, really? How did that happen?
Well, I heard that he fell from a horse.
Yes, that's correct. But to assume that there's any relationship between these events is simply ludicrous.
Well, is it true that the original manuscript of Hester Atherton's biography was mysteriously destroyed?
Well, it wasn't so mysterious, April. Actually, it was just thrown in a fire, and I think you'll admit that does a good job of destroying it.
However, before the fire, Donald Hooks did make certain excerpts from the manuscript. He copied out all of Hester Atherton's original spells and curses and invocations, and they're all in the screenplay, exactly as she wrote them.
Does that mean they might really work?
Well, I just think the whole thing's foolish.
Excuse me?
Well, I mean, I think that it's foolish to just leave the spells and the curses just the way they were, simply for the sake of the so-called authenticity.
Mr. Archer, this sounds like you might really believe they work.
No, I believe that it's just you shouldn't take foolish chances. I mean, who's to say what sort of knowledge the ancients had, huh? Who's to say it?
Are you all right?
Well, anyway, we're not really concerned about the curse on this Mansion of the Dam. We just want to make the most entertaining movie that we possibly can, and we're very grateful to the people of Monticello for letting us make it here.
Well, Mr. Madison, we are very happy that you are here, and we all hope that Mansion of the Dam turns out to be one heck of a picture. This is April Scott for WMON News.
By the way, that interview was pre-taped. April Scott is ill. Nothing serious, but she's home recuperating, and I know you all join me in wishing her a speedy recovery.
Something about April Scott being at home. Why?
Because April has been making this her home for the last few days.
What do you mean?
April?
But I thought you said we'd be alone.
April, are you up there? So you were up there. Spying on me again, April.
No.
Your favorite hobby.
No, Elliot, I was lying down.
Oh, yeah. I bet you had this plan from the very beginning. Ever since you eavesdropped my phone call.
I didn't plan on anything.
Isn't this something? Well, isn't this the cutest thing? That's the second time for her, isn't it, Elliot?
Ah, shut up.
This sweet little thing is going to be the end of you, isn't she? Well, go on, Ducky. Let's see how you get out of it this time. Sorry I can't stay to see how you do it.
I had no idea you were going to be home tonight, Elliot.
Nor did I, obviously. You were supposed to be at the studio taping an interview.
I pre-taped the interview this afternoon. I wasn't feeling well and I came home early.
Correction, April. This isn't your home. This is mine. And I suppose you're going to make sure it's not mine much longer.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Can't wait to tell Mama when she gets home, can you?
Why are you looking at me like that?
The last time, April, you really thought I was gonna throw you off the terrace, didn't you? You really thought I was capable of doing such a thing. But then you've been sick. You've been sick since you've broken up with your husband. We all know that. We all know that if you suddenly leapt off the terrace in a moment of despair, we wouldn't be surprised
Would we? Come, let's take a look at the view. April.
You're disgusting.
I hope I'm not taking you too far out of your way.
No, not at all.
It was really very gracious of you to offer me a ride home.
Well, I know how difficult it is to get a cab at this hour.
Ordinarily, I avoid these testimonial dinners like the plague.
Sometimes they're a necessary evil.
Well, they're tasteless meals, boring speeches, especially when they're one's own.
Oh, I thought your speech was very informative indeed.
Well, thank you. Tell you the truth, if the honored guest hadn't been a television executive with whom I've had dealings in the past, I think I would have skipped the whole thing.
Well, I'm glad I did attend. It forced Logan to come home early from his office and spend the time babysitting with his son.
Well, to tell you the truth, I would have preferred to spend the evening with my daughter instead of those stuffed shirts.
Yes, I understand April is staying with you now.
Yes. I really hated leaving her alone tonight. She wasn't feeling very well. I hope she's all right.
I had no idea you were going to be home tonight, Elliot.
Nor did I, obviously. We were supposed to be at the studio taping an interview.
I pre-taped the interview this afternoon. I wasn't feeling well and I came home early.
Correction, April. This isn't your home. This is mine. And I suppose you're going to make sure it's not mine much longer.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Can't wait to tell Mama when she gets home, can you?
Why are you looking at me like that?
The last time, April, you really thought I was going to throw you off the terrace, didn't you? You really thought I was capable of doing such a thing. But then you've been sick. You've been sick since you've broken up with your husband. We all know that. We all know that if you suddenly leapt off the terrace in a moment of despair, we wouldn't be surprised, would we? Come, let's take a look at the view, April.
You're disgusting.
Margot must certainly be happy. Having her daughter all by herself. It's what she's always wanted.
Draper, I'm sure April is feeling just as bad about this rift as you are. And I don't think Margot wants to see her daughter unhappy.
Well, Mike, she certainly hasn't done anything to help the situation. Do you know, every time I go over to see April, all she does is throw up roadblocks.
But you have seen her.
Yeah, I saw her a couple of days ago. Mike, she still thinks I was wrong in giving Jamie to Logan, and I still think I was right.
When are you going to talk to her again?
I'm not going to, Mike. Not in the immediate future. I was talking to Miles and Nicole the other day. We all came to the same conclusion. Just leave April alone, let her think through this thing herself.
Draper, April is an intelligent woman. I'm sure if you give her time, she'll come to grips with the situation.
Yeah, Mike, she's still maintaining a hard line about this, though. Logan was talking to her the other day. He happened to mention that I was handling the petition for her. She got angry. She said that I had betrayed her.
I see.
She threatened me, Mike. She said that if I continued with this petition, My next piece of litigation was going to be our divorce.
Oh, she didn't mean that, Draper?
I don't think she meant it either, Mike. But it gives us some indication of what kind of a serious issue she thinks this is.
So you feel as if you're caught in the middle. Maybe the best thing would be to allow April to contest Logan's petition and let the courts decide.
Well, Mike, I have no doubt about the outcome. Raven's paper is worthless. Logan is going to be appointed Jamie's natural guardian.
Which would let you off the hook.
But I don't want my wife and my best friend fighting in a court of law. Well, let's face it, Mike. When April does lose, she's going to be even more bitter.
Draper, I wish I could help.
Believe me, Mike, you are helping. Just by listening.
Well, you know, the door is always open.
Thanks. I really appreciate that. Look, I've got to go. If you need me, I'll be over at the Monticello Arms with Logan.
Why there?
Well, that's where he's living now. He and Jamie, with Geraldine Saxon. They're his family now. Good night.
Good night, Draper.
Well, now that I have you both here, this is the perfect opportunity to find out what other members of the police force think of our acting chief, Deborah. Deborah, how do you feel about working for Mr. Stoner?
Well, actually, I think he's probably the worst tyrant we've ever had. I'm just kidding, Calvin. I'm just kidding. No, seriously, he's probably deserved the job more than anybody else around. I don't know of anyone who deserves and commands more respect around here than Calvin Stoner.
That's quite a testimonial.
That is what you told me to say, isn't it?
Jokes like that could get you school crossing duty. Excuse me. Stoner. Okay, I'll be right down. Ladies, you'll have to excuse me.
What's up?
Liquor store's been robbed. They're chasing the guys to the Midwood section now. I'm gonna have to limp down to TCR, I'm afraid.
Oh, well, thanks very, very much for your time,
My pleasure, Mrs. Carr. See you later, Deborah.
Bye, Chief.
Deborah, how have you been?
Inundated by work. I swear I think every crook in Monticello must be trying to commit the bulk of their crime before the weather turns cold.
But you like to keep busy, don't you?
To a point.
Oh, you don't sound too enthusiastic about your job.
I came here to do police work, not paperwork. When this stuff piles up, my spirits go right down. But I am happy that Steve and Calvin are back on the force.
Yes, the partners are back together.
Well, the Three Musketeers aren't really riding together. Calvin's riding this desk, and Steve is...
Well, he's back on active duty again, isn't he?
Yeah, but we're not working together as much as we used to.
Oh, any special reason?
Well, we both have pretty heavy caseloads of our own.
But you're still seeing each other, aren't you? I mean, you were at the party together.
Well, that was a little different, Nancy. Steve and I aren't dating anymore. We, began to drift apart a couple of months ago. We didn't have much contact when he was off working as Paige Madison's bodyguard.
Oh, I see.
And we both decided, and after we realized that we just wanted different things out of life.
Well, Deborah, I suppose it's all for the best.
My life sure would be a lot less complicated if I knew what I wanted out of life.
I get the feeling you want to talk.
Yeah, I do. Nancy, I don't know anybody else I can tell my feelings to. Everybody I feel that I can confide in is also a very good friend of Steve's, and I don't want this to get back to you.
I understand. Look, I promise anything you say won't go any further than this room.
All right. Nancy, I'm doing something I've never done before. I'm seeing a married man. A long time ago, I made a rule for myself that I was never going to get involved with married men. Just upset with myself that I broke it.
Well, that can be distressing.
And it all started out so innocently. Boy, now that really sounds like a cliche.
Well, Deborah, I'm sure that you didn't plan to get involved with whoever.
I guess I should tell you his name. I'm currently seeing Owen Madison.
Mr. Madison?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, you were liaison between the police and the Madison family when the Tobias group was after Paige Madison.
Yeah. Well, that's how it all started. You see, Owen invited me out one night to talk about the case. We ended up talking about each other.
I see.
As much as I tried to convince myself that business was the reason for our getting together, it just didn't work out that way. I mean, the case is over, and we want to still see each other.
Well, Deborah, if it's going to upset you, you can always choose not to see him anymore.
Part of me wants to. The other part of me enjoys his company. He's a very interesting man, Nancy. He tells me that the relationship between he and his wife is not very good, that there are no feelings in his marriage.
But he still has a commitment.
Yeah. Oh, this isn't an affair, by the way. At least not yet.
But you do feel attracted towards him?
Yes, I do. Boy, I wish somebody would tell me what to do.
Oh, my dear. I'm afraid you're the only one who can do that for yourself.
I'm afraid myself is very confused at the moment. Would you please tell me what you think? Honestly?
What I think. Deborah, I think that most women who get involved in a situation like this usually end up getting hurt.
Yeah. I suppose that's true.
And I also think that most men who say that their marriages are meaningless, nevertheless, always stay married.
Who's it from, Owen?
Well, let me see. It's Herbert Franklin, the OTO USA, Ordo Templis Orientalis. Some sort of mystical group.
He probably wants a job consulting on the movie.
Is that what it's about, Dad?
No, not exactly. I don't know, it seems to be some kind of warning.
No, they're afraid we're going to say something nasty about the devil?
No. Apparently he read that we're attempting the third production of The Mansion of the Damned, and he thinks that we are running a terrible risk.
Does he say why?
Well, I just can't make much sense out of this mumbo-jumbo style of his. You have a look at it. But he does say that he thinks that Hester Atherton is the real thing. I mean, a genuine witch.
Hey, that's great. We ought to be able to use that letter somehow.
Uncle Eddie, do you think of everything in terms of publicity?
Everything, honey.
Oh, there are bound to be crackpots and eccentrics who get upset at this kind of project.
Yeah, it sounds like it's Hester's spells the guys are most worried about. He says that they are genuine and shouldn't be disseminated to the public.
You see? I told you that document was the real thing. Genuine spells. Now, is that an angle or isn't it?
I think it's kind of scary myself.
Yeah, he says he's afraid that our movie might summon, get this, the Dark Proprietor.
Oh, I've never heard the devil call that before.
Now, that would be something, wouldn't it, if we could summon old Lucifer right up out of hell? Hey, do you suppose he'd be willing to do a personal appearance at the premiere?
Yeah, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the devil. Welcome to our movie.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, you can throw that damn letter in the fire.
Oh, and don't be such a killjoy. Look, I don't think any of us should express doubts about the authenticity of the manuscript. I think it's much better if we go along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Coffee for anyone?
Oh, Lillian, yes, here, just put it right down here and we'll help
Certainly,
ourselves.
sir. Lillian, do you have anyone you'd care to see turned into a toad? Or have a case of hiccups that would last about 5 years?
I beg your pardon, ma'am.
We have the spells that give us the opportunity to summon all of these things.
Lillian, my mother's just trying to get into the spirit of her new movie role.
Well, I don't think people ought to fool around with the spirit world.
Oh, does that mean that you're a believer, Lillian?
Well, there's so much we don't understand that I never walk under ladders or step on cracks in the pavement. I'm not one to tempt the fates.
Well, it does exist, Owen, you know.
What's that?
The ceremony that Hester performs to invoke the devil. It's all right here, word for word. What if Mr. Franklin is right? What if it really works?
Will you excuse me, please?
Oh, by the way, Owen, the costume designer delivered some sketches this afternoon for my wardrobe. I forgot to bring them down with me.
Well, it's about time you turned up with something. Doran, do you mind getting them?
Oh, well, look, I'm rather tired. Why don't you come up to my room instead? It'll save me the trip.
Okay. Well, I'd like to come along, too, if you don't mind. I want to see what Hester's wearing.
Sure, the more the merrier. So how about you two? Want to catch a little fashion show?
I think I'll just finish my coffee. I'll be up a little while.
Yeah, I've got to finish this list of equipment we'll be ordering from the cinematography warehouse.
Suit yourself.
You've been very quiet this evening, Brian.
Paige, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to concentrate on this catalog. I've got this nightmare that I'll show up for the first day of shooting and I won't have ordered the right material, like something like the right lens.
You had something to say to Nola and to Owen and to Eddie, but you didn't have a word for me.
Paige, I don't mean to ignore you. I guess it's just been a pretty long day. I'm a little tired.
Well, it's awkward for me too, Brian. I don't know how things are between us.
Excuse me. Mr. Bryan, there's a phone call for you. It's a lady. I didn't get her name.
Thank you, Lily. Hello? Who's this? Susan. It's nice to hear from you. Listen, I want to thank you for all your help this afternoon. Tomorrow night. No, Susan, no, I don't have any plans. No, I haven't been to the new roller disco, but I'd love to give it a try. Yeah, I'll pick you up about 7:30, okay?
Trade you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I really appreciate your company here this evening. These days, once Jamie gets to bed, I have a tendency to brood.
Well, there's no sense being miserable alone when you can be miserable with me.
My thoughts exactly.
Oh, Logan. I really miss April.
Yeah, I bet you do.
Won't be surprised if she and Margot were home tonight baking brownies.
No, Margot's not home tonight.
How do you know that?
She was here, came to see me.
What for? Hey, don't tell me she wanted to give you a campaign contribution.
No, you're half right.
Do yourself a favor. Stay away from the woman. The minute she sinks her fangs into you, you'll never get rid of her.
Well, the offer didn't have to do with politics. It was about Jamie.
No, I really don't follow.
Well, Mrs. Doran explained to me very carefully that this conflict over Jamie is causing April considerable mental anguish, and that she, Mrs. Doran, would do anything to help. She even suggested that the responsibility of raising Jamie at this stage in my career might prove to be a hindrance, a burden even, one that I might consider relieving myself of, and that should I consider to do that, she would make it worth my while.
How?
Well, a trust fund, $30,000 a year for the next 5 years. I rang up no sale.
Margot thinks that her money can buy everything. You know, in the 2 years that she's been here, she's bought her daughter's affection, a husband, 2 homes, and her standing here in Madison. My God, now to try to buy a grandson, for Pete's sake.
Draper, this is my problem. Don't you sweat it.
I hate that woman, Logan. And every time she pulls one of these stunts, I hate her more. She's going to know how I feel about this.
And here we are, Mrs. Doran, right at your front door.
Well, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your giving me this ride home. If there's ever any way I can repay you, just let me know. Right?
Yes, well, as a matter of fact, there is a favor you might do for me.
Oh, well, just name it.
I know that you and April are very close. I was hoping you might be willing to have a little chat with your daughter.
About what?
This situation with Jamie. Frankly, I think someone should talk some sense into that young lady.
Oh, really?
Surely you must realize that April is being totally unreasonable about this whole business.
Well, that is your opinion, isn't it?
Mrs. Dawn, Logan Swift is the boy's father. Now, I know that April has a great deal of affection for that baby, but she has no moral or legal right to him.
Oh, well, I'm afraid April would object to that rather vehemently.
I know. That's why I was hoping that you might encourage her to face the facts as they are.
Well, thank you for the ride home, Mrs. Saxon. Good night.
Good night, Mrs. Dawn.
Elliot? April? Would leave the door open all night like... April? 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 Yes?
Margot, it's Draper.
Oh, Draper, I'm so glad you called. Something terrible has happened.
You bet it has. Margot, Logan told me about your...
Draper, please! Something's happened to April. She's sick or hurt or something.
What are you talking about?
I mean, I just came into the apartment and she's lying on the floor unconscious and I can't wake her. She may be dead. April, wake up! April! April! Yes?
Margot, it's Draper.
Oh, Draper, I'm so glad you called. Something terrible has happened.
You bet it has. Logan told me about your attempt to buy his son.
Draper, it's April! She's hurt or sick or something.
What are you talking about?
I mean, I just came into the apartment and she's lying on the floor unconscious and I can't wake her. She might be dead.
Calm down, Margot. Have you called for help?
No, I was trying to revive her when the phone rang.
All right, dial 911. Get an ambulance. I'll be over there as soon as I can.
All right.
Is April sick?
We don't know. Margot found her unconscious on the floor. We can't bring her around. Oh, God. You don't suppose she could have... No. No.
She could have what?
She's been so depressed lately. I thought maybe she would have tried to commit...
Don't even think that. Go on, get out of here. Go find out how she is. She'll probably be fine by the time you get there.
Thanks. I'll call if I hear anything.
One way or the other, you call me.
So my little sister's becoming a pretty competent interviewer, is she?
Mm-hmm. Margot's giving April more and more on-camera work. I'm gonna have to start looking behind my shoulder before long.
Oh, well, listen, with all those high-powered show business types, all April had to do probably was just to say the title of the picture. The others took over. She probably didn't get another word in edgewise.
Oh, you'd be surprised. They did talk a lot, but Nola and Owen and Trent were all there to publicize Mansion of the Damned. But April held her own pretty well with them.
Yeah, I must say, publicizing a picture on the news, the only reason they got to do that was that Margot's an old friend of Owen Madison.
Oh, no, come on. A feature-length film being shot in Monticello? That's news. And also, Owen has agreed to use a lot of locals as crew. I think he deserves the publicity.
Well, you gonna audition for a part?
Why do you say that?
Well, hasn't anybody ever told you your face belongs on the silver screen?
Mm-hmm. Yes, as a matter of fact, this very afternoon.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I was standing around after April finished the taping, and I had the honor of being singled out by Trent Archer.
What did he do? Offer to give you his autograph?
Offered a little bit more than that. Mr. Archer made a pass at me.
Is that so?
Nothing to worry about. It was an incomplete pass. I think it was just sort of a reflex action. He must think women expected of him.
Huh. Listen, I was never much of a fan of his before I heard this story.
You know, it's kind of interesting. I can't figure out why he agreed to play the part of the devil. I mean, he doesn't seem at all enthusiastic about it.
Well, Madison probably offered him a big salary, but plus a percentage of the gross. Isn't that how they do it these days?
But you know, during the interview, he seemed really uncomfortable. And when Nola started to elaborate about this so-called curse on the picture, I thought he was going to pass out.
Well, I'm glad he didn't, for April's sake. I wonder how she would have handled that.
You know, I think he's afraid of this movie.
Why? Is the script that bad?
I don't know. I just have the feeling that this curse business has him really worried. I got the impression he's very superstitious.
Well, now look, if he believes that the ghost of Hester Atherton is going to come back and try and keep her story from being told, he can't be too intelligent.
I don't think Trent Archer is a contender for a Fulbright this year.
Yeah, hello.
Oh, Miles, it's Draper. Thank God you're in. April has had an accident.
Where are you? What happened?
I don't know what happened. I'm at Margot's. She found her unconscious on the floor. It could be a blow to the head.
Well, has she come to?
No, the paramedics are here now, trying to bring her around.
Well, they know what caused it?
No, Miles, we don't know anything.
Any other signs of trauma to the body?
Miles, I don't know. Nobody knows what her condition is. They're just getting her ready to take to Monticello General right now.
All right, I'll meet you there. I'm on my way.
Oh, thanks a lot, Miles. I'm going to follow you guys in the car right away.
I think you'd better stay and relax a little before you do any driving.
He's right, Draper. Draper, I'm going with you, okay?
Margot, do you have any idea how this could have happened?
No. Well, why did I have to go to that damn dinner? If I'd only been here, maybe this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, you were awfully busy tonight, weren't you? That dinner wasn't the only appearance you put in tonight, was it?
What are you talking about?
Logan told me about your visit.
I don't want to talk about that now.
You know how badly April wants to keep Jamie and raise him as her own. Why did you have to try to buy him? When are you going to learn that your money is not the answer to everything?
Draper, somehow my meeting with Logan Swift doesn't seem terribly significant right now at the moment, but I'll tell you something. I love April. And if any way I could use my money to make her well, right this second, I wouldn't wait for an instant.
The medicine cabinet. Have you checked your medicine cabinet?
Why? Why should I?
April's been awfully upset the last week. She might have felt overwhelmed. Maybe she felt so bad that she wanted to commit suicide.
No, Draper should never do that, never in a million years.
Okay. Who else? Elliot. Have you seen Elliot? Was he here tonight when you left?
No, he wasn't here. He got here shortly after and stayed for a little. I talked to him on the telephone.
Well, have you talked to him since?
No, why?
Because he might be able to shed some light on this mess.
Oh, no. No, Elliot doesn't know anything about it. I mean, he and April... Well, if April weren't feeling well, she wouldn't have confided in Elliot.
Margot, how? I mean, how in the hell could this have happened?
I think the only thing that makes any sense is that, April didn't feel well, and she got dizzy, and she fell, and maybe she hit her head on something. Maybe she hit her head on the hearth.
Margot.
What?
What? What is this doing here?
Draper, my God, the jewels. I'd forgotten all about the jewels. They were here when I got home to the apartment.
What? Maybe someone was robbing you. April came down, surprised them, and they hit her.
No one was trying to steal these jewels.
Well, how can you be so sure?
Because, Draper, I haven't seen these jewels in months. These were part of the jewels that were taken the last time I was burglarized.
Look, we can't worry about that now. Let's get down to the hospital.
Rank really has its privileges. You ought to be home eating this stuff with Star, you know?
Wishful thinking. You know, when I got this assignment to replace the chief while he was on vacation, I actually thought I was going to spend half my day with my feet up on the desk reading the Police Gazette.
They really have kept you occupied, haven't they?
I never realized how much paperwork and politics goes into this. I spent half an hour on the phone today with Councilman Stearns, convincing him that I could really not fix a parking ticket he got last week.
Lord, that must be frustrating. You have to admit, if you're going to recuperate anywhere, this is the place to heal your legs.
Yeah, well, I'm beginning to learn that even in this job, you got to have pretty fast feet. You know that press conference I had today?
Oh, yeah, the one on the Special Forces.
Right, about deploying officers to high crime rate areas. You should have heard the questions. I mean, where's the money going to come from? Does that mean other areas of the city are going to go unprotected? I began to feel like Daniel in the lion's den.
Well, you know, they're just really trying to hassle you, Calvin.
I think I'll be glad when I get back on active duty. At least out on the street with the muggers. You know they're going to respect a badge.
Time to eat.
Hey, Calvin. Oh, hi, Deb.
Hey.
Well, how's life in the big office?
Well, whoever said it was lonely at the top lied. I've had more visitors here than I ever had in my old desk.
How's the night force, Steve?
Oh, everything's pretty routine, except for a report I got from Sergeant Colson of the Highway Patrol.
Oh, it's not a serious accident, I hope.
No, as a matter of fact, nothing serious at all. A few people of a small residence in the suburbs of Glenboro, about 20 miles west, have reported some strange sightings.
Don't tell me. The Martians are landing in Monticello.
Terrific, that's all I need. At least they could have done was waited till the chief got back.
No, it's no UFOs or anything like that. They've all described something like strange lights in an abandoned building out there.
Yeah, and the report was made by a bunch of kids on their way home from a horror movie, right?
No, as a matter of fact, about a half a dozen people, grown-ups, have made the sighting.
Maybe there's a full moon.
The lights all change in intensity, and they travel from one part of the building to another.
Couldn't it just be a couple of drifters who decided to take up residence? They're using, you know, lanterns or flashlights or something.
Has Carlson investigated?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he said the place is locked up as tight as a drum.
Well, could be reflections from passing cars. No, it sounds to me like there isn't much to worry about.
No, I don't think Carlson thinks that way either. Here, read the report.
Let's see, strange things are happening in Glenboro. The case of the dancing lights continues. Following are the two most recent explanations offered by eyewitnesses. Number one, alien beings have landed and are using the abandoned building to repair their flying saucer before heading home. If this is true, they may be with us for quite some time, considering that I have been trying to locate a carburetor for my European car for several months now. I have no idea where they'll get replacement parts.
Has a sense of humor, doesn't he?
Two, the government is conducting secret tests in germ warfare. I discounted this theory as the gentleman who offered it immediately proceeded to try and sell me a World War II surplus gas mask, of which it appears he has.
Come on, now look, I don't really have time for this if this is supposed to be some kind of a joke.
No, I think he's serious. He goes out of his way every night, out on Route 24, to see if he can see these lights. So far, no luck.
Wait a minute, did you say an abandoned building on Route 24?
Yeah.
Well, I know the place.
Yeah, so have you seen any dancing lights there?
No, it's not even abandoned anymore. It's the new site for the Mansion of the Damned.
Deborah, are you absolutely sure about that?
Yeah, I'm positive. It was in the press guide that was given out to everybody at the party to celebrate the beginning of production.
Well, why is it that the residents of Glenboro don't know what's going on in their own backyards?
Well, maybe they don't because Owen Madison is trying to keep this movie of his low-key.
Yeah, they announced at the party that they wanted an absolutely closed set, no visitors allowed.
Madison might be trying to make this movie very intriguing.
Well, how come you didn't make the connection, Steve? You were at this party.
Because I didn't see anything in the press guide about it.
Well, come to think about it, I don't know if I saw it there either.
Yeah, maybe Madison showed it to you on another occasion.
Well, anyway, the mystery of the dancing lights is solved, right?
Right. Sounds like it's the lights from the construction crew who are doing the renovating or something.
Well, I'll call the precinct in Glenboro, let them know what's going on.
All right.
Wait a minute, Calvin. Let me look at something. Steve, these lights can't possibly be connected with workmen. Look at the time. Everything has been reported for after midnight, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. What would they be doing renovating that time of night?
I don't know. Maybe that's show business.
Bad business, if you ask me. Why in the world would they hire a construction crew to work on a low-budget film? I don't think Owen would do that.
Well, look, maybe it's just the lights from a security guard on patrol.
No, that's not it. When we were at the party, Madison asked me if I could recommend a security service. He doesn't have one yet.
Well, Deborah is right. All the sightings were in the wee hours of the morning. Now, who'd be out there then?
Maybe it's not a who. Maybe it's a what.
Now, how's that?
Haven't you heard? The movie is haunted. Has a curse, doesn't it, Deborah?
Oh, look, it's just a big publicity stunt. But it's funny that every time they've tried to start this thing, something's always gone wrong.
Yeah, it's the ghost of old Hester Atherton. She's a witch, Calvin. She's in league with the devil. Maybe we better go tell Owen about it. Since you and he are such good friends, why don't you go talk to him?
Dr. Archer to pediatrics.
Miss Doran?
Swift?
Nurse downstairs told me that this is April's room.
Yes, they only allow 2 people in at a time. Draper and Miles are in there right
I see. Well, do you have any idea what's wrong with her yet?
No. I mean, they say she struck her head and then she's still unconscious.
What? Well, how serious is it?
I don't know. They've run a battery of tests. She's still alive. I mean, that's all they're able to tell us, or all they're willing to tell us.
My God, I had no idea. I can't tell you how sorry I am.
Oh, pangs of guilt, Mr. Swift.
What?
Do you realize that April has been ill ever since you decided to take Jamie away from her?
You're blaming this on me?
All I know is that she has been ill. She's been ill. If you haven't put all that stress on her, maybe, just maybe, this accident wouldn't have happened.
You're obviously upset, so I'm going to let this pass.
Your wife wanted her to have Jamie. Why couldn't you have respected her wishes?
My wife gave Jamie to April and Draper to hurt me. I told you that. She knows how much I love the boy, and she wanted to punish me. Revenge is her favorite game.
You have no legal claim on that child.
One of these days, I will explain to you my position, and then you will understand. Now is not the time.
You know what I think? I think you're just being spiteful. Oh, Mr. Swift, you know how much better off Jamie would be with 2 parents?
Well, how much better off would I be,
Well, a lot better off. Oh, come on, you're a man. A man has a career. A career is much more important to a man than a baby could ever be.
And they say men are chauvinists?
Everyone would have been better off if you had just done as I had told you to.
Oh, yes. I would have been $30,000 better off, wouldn't I? $30,000 a year for 5 years. Let's see, that's $150,000. How much is that per pound of baby?
All I know is that I would like to be in there when April opens her eyes, and I would like to be able to tell her that Jamie's here.
How do you think she would feel when she found out that I sold him for 150,000 of your dollars?
I don't know it would matter, but she doesn't have to know.
Mrs. Doran. I feel sorry for April, I really do. I feel a hell of a lot more sorry for you.
Why doesn't she come 2 miles?
I wish I had an answer for you, Draper. Dr. Wallace told me that her vital signs have remained strong throughout. That's encouraging.
This never should have happened.
We don't even know what happened.
It's my fault. I should have never let her get out of the house. I should have grabbed her. I should have sat her down, made her realize that what I did with Logan and Jamie was right.
I'm sure the two things aren't related at all.
Maybe.
Listen, try to relax, will you? When she wakes up, she's going to want to see a smile on your face. Come on.
My first thought when I heard about April was that she tried to commit suicide. I mean, she's been so depressed lately. She's been through so much. She shouldn't suffer like this.
Hey, no. She's not suffering right now. I'm sure she'll be all right.
Any change in her condition, Miles?
No, I'm afraid not.
Well, have you figured out what's wrong with her yet?
Well, we're waiting to look at the x-rays. If you'll excuse me, I'd like to take a look at my patient.
Come on, Trevor. Let's let the doctor do his work.
Any news?
Nothing.
Why, with all the modern technology, can't they do something to help her?
Margaret, you have no idea how April was hurt?
No, apparently she hit her head. fell
Was she
and
hit? Did she fall? What happened, Margot?
She must have fallen, Draper. There are no signs of violence.
Doctor, what's happening?
Miss Scott's condition is stable. We should know more in a few minutes. Well, the x-rays are ready, and I think I better go take a look at them right now.
Miles, what the hell is taking so long?
Takes a while to look over x-rays like that.
I think it's something serious. Something very serious they don't want to tell us about.
Mrs. Doran, I seriously doubt that anybody's withholding information from you around here.
Look, I can't sit still anymore. I've got to go talk to somebody.
Draper!
Okay, Bill, I owe you one, huh? Thank you very much for the consultation.
You got it. Take care.
Right.
You guys are sure taking your time. I think I wore a path in the hallway outside my wife's room.
Well, we just have to be thorough, Mr. Scott. Now, I just finished a consultation with Dr. Slocum.
Oh, terrific. Now, what have you discovered?
Well, the news is very good. Your wife has sustained a slight concussion, nothing more.
Oh, thank God.
In a few days, she'll be as good as new, and the only thing to remind her of this unpleasant incident will be a headache.
Simple concussion. Then why is she still unconscious?
Well, I think it was more than the blow on the head. I think she sustained some kind of shock.
But she's all right. Now, you're sure about that? It took you so long to get this answer.
Well, even though the blow was the only injury, we thought it'd be wise to check on the condition of the fetus, and I just want to
Wait a second, wait a minute.
Yes?
Check on the condition of what?
Well, the baby, Mr. Scott.
Oh, you guys are really blowing it this time. Hell, we're not even talking about the same patient.
April Scott, female, Caucasian, blonde hair, very pretty.
Yeah, pretty, very pretty, but not pregnant.
Well, she certainly is. According to Dr. Slocum, she's just about entering her 3rd month.
3rd month?
Mr. Scott, you didn't even know?